I'm very happy to be here at this event, and I think it's a wonderful effort by the organizing committee to look into the history of Indians' contributions in Singapore over more than 100 years, and to recognize and document the achievements of some of those who made a big difference. We're recognizing the achievements of the Indians in Singapore's history by giving awards to the family members who are still there, but also documenting their stories. And I think this is a great initiative and a great start, because these people can be role models for our younger Singaporeans to learn from and to realize that everyone can make a difference.
Hi, I'm Vijendran Vijayaratnam. I'm receiving this award on behalf of my dad, Arumugam Vijayaratnam. And I'd like to thank the Indian Hall of Fame Singapore for organizing this event. My father has achieved a lot as an engineer. He was an outstanding engineer. And he was basically responsible for laying the foundations for Sentosa, Singapore, the Port of Singapore, and also the Changi Airport.
Hello, my name is Noshir Mistry. My uncle, Nauroji Mistry, had donated $1 million in 1953 to the Singapore General Hospital, and the Mistry Wing, which is now a diabetic and metabolism center. Very honored to be invited here today for this very impressive function.
My name is Chandran, and this is Jayakumar. We are all here to celebrate the excellence and achievements of the many who has helped in building the nation, and we are proud, and especially this is an inaugural event, and we are happy to be part of this celebration.
I'm Shanta Bhaskar, wife of Mr. K.B. Bhaskar. Very honored to be here for this function, and then I believe that this award is for his art that Mr. Bhaskar brought this in 1952 to Singapore. Thank you very much. Feel very honored.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Jayaratnam, and I'm here to receive the Induction Award on behalf of my late father, J.B. Jayaratnam, who was the first opposition MP in Singapore after a gap of nearly 20 years when he was elected in 1981.
Kesavan Surya. I'm an athlete. I ran for Singapore in the 1956 Olympic Games, and I'm proud to be here to be with the Indian community.
Good afternoon, my name is Ravi Nair. I'm the son of MPD Nair, who's inducted into his Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank the committee for honouring our father. Even though he's passed away 31 years ago, it's nice to feel that he's been honoured for the things he has done for the community and for Singapore. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sabina Jumaboy, and this is my husband.
Jumaboy.
I'm Mr. J.M. Jumaboy's daughter-in-law, and immensely proud to be here today. And because he's not only my father-in-law, but he's always been like a second dad to me. So I'm really, really proud and happy about this.
And I think for me, I'm proud because of what he's done in life, what he's done when he was in the government, in the chamber. I think he's accomplished a lot for not just for us, but I think for a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shanti Kim Kandasamy, daughter of G. Kandasamy, representing him, accepting the award on his behalf. As always, I'm incredibly proud and honored to receive this award.
Hi, it's such a wonderful thing to be invited to this occasion. Indians Hall of Fame, the whole idea is really unique to give Indians some recognition. And I'm glad that sports is one of them. And we are so happy to be here, my wife and I, because she was also in sports. And without her, I couldn't have achieved anything. Thank you very much.
everyone's ready actually for the march-in. Are all of you ready? You know what to do. Then stand, please.
Let us welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Vikram Nair, MP for Sembawang GRC. Along with him, the President of the Indian Hall of Fame Singapore, Mr. S.A. Nathanji. Along with our panel of award winners, let's have a very big round of applause for every single one. I would sincerely love for everyone to keep this thunderous round of applause going. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very, very much. And I noticed many of you are exchanging pleasantries and all of you are greeting each other and wishing each other. But a quick note of caution, I was told to make this announcement that after yesterday's change in color for the Dog's Cone, no handshakes, no hugs, no kisses. Alright, first up, as all of you know, our guest of honor is in our midst. Nathanji is saying mic not good enough. Change the mic. Nah, picked it up already. It's okay, it's good now. So, ladies and gentlemen, first up, let us invite our guest of honor on stage, Mr. Vikram Nair, MP for Sembawang GRC, to give his speech.
So I've known Mr. Nathan, I think, shortly after I became an MP, I was at a house party, one of my volunteers, Hari Raya party. I sat next to him and we had a long conversation. That's when I realized that he was a party member even before Singapore was independent. Correct, right? Yes. And it was very interesting because his knowledge of history is amazing, right? And all anecdotal stories. And then later on I learned about how he had been with the Indian Movie News, which was my grandmother's favorite magazine. So I remember seeing copies of it at home. And it's really, I think Mr. Nathan has an incredible amount of energy. This is not the first time he's organized a big event like this. He also launched an earlier book, My Amazing Journey in Indian cinema, where he really talks about all of his experiences with the Indian Movie News, all the people he's met. And, it takes an incredible amount of effort to do this. And this particular project, he said, I want to do an Indians Hall of Fame. And at first I was thinking, what is an Indians Hall of Fame? And he said, well, Indians have done a lot in Singapore's history, but sometimes, people may not know, may forget. And I think Mr. Nathan's probably been around long enough to have known Singapore pre-independence, post-independence, but this book goes even further. It was actually inspired by the bicentennial celebrations. So he was even looking at the contributions of Indians from an even earlier era. He pulled together a committee. So the decisions were actually made by a committee of people, I think chaired by Mr. Indrajit and Vice Chair Dr. B.P. Nair. I think that committee basically collectively looked at the different people and put up the people who've been put forward for this Indians Hall of Fame. And it covers a very wide range of areas, from business, sports, politics, law. And I can't imagine, it must have been a really difficult job doing this, right? And I was just telling him, if anyone is unhappy about not being in here, Mr. Indrajit is going to have to answer. But it's just, it's a big project, right? But I think it's important that someone does it, and I think it's a very good start. It was a whole team of people coming together to make this happen, and it was a lot of work. Right? Because it's not just getting the stories together, it's also identifying the family members, where they are, what they're doing. So it was quite a big effort. But if it's not done now, it may never be done. right? It takes someone to do it together, to document it, and hopefully this starts a process that continues going on, so that there'll be other people who come in with equal energy to find a few more inductions, right, Mr. Nathan? That's the plan, right? So all those who are unhappy, you can consider whether they deserve to be in the future halls of fame. But I think, because it's so difficult to compare what people have done, right? And I think, but you still need to start. You can't be afraid of doing it just because, you haven't done the perfect selection. But I think it's important to try and include as broad a range as possible and keep it going. It's a way of, I think, documenting history as well. So thank you to everyone who's joined us to share this occasion as well. I enjoyed reading the little book before it was published. I think there's now probably a better copy, right, which everyone will have. So please treasure that, and thank you all for being part of this special session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very, very much. So the first award of the evening is the Excellence Award for Political Achievement Post-Independence, presented to S. Rajaratnam. He was Singapore's first Indian Minister of the PAP, first Indian Deputy Prime Minister and Senior Minister. He also held many ministerial portfolios which included Culture Minister, Foreign Minister, and also held the Labour portfolio. He is responsible for crafting the National Pledge and works laboriously to keep Singapore a multicultural and multi-religious society, alongside Lee Kuan Yew and the other founding fathers of Singapore. He was at the forefront in navigating Singapore through the difficult times faced during the early part of the post-colonial years. Truly a beacon of fortitude and resilience. May we please invite on stage Dr. V.P. Nair to collect the award on his behalf. Dr. V.P. Nair, please.
Dr. Prem Pillai, who is the nephew of Mr. S.S. Rajaratnam, was supposed to come. But being a neurosurgeon, he's doing a neurosurgery, and he thought that the cardiologist would be the better person because heart and brain are nearby. That's how I'm here. His name is Prem and my name is Param, so name also tallies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nair. The second award of the evening is the Excellence Award for Armed Services Achievement, presented to Kirparam Vij. Kirparam Vij is Singapore's first Chief of Armed Forces and Brigadier General. When Singapore gained independence in 1965, he was pivotal in the formation of SAFTI and the Singapore Command and Staff College. From completing his secondary education at Raffles Institution to serving the Singapore Voluntary Artillery, Kirparam showed promise from a very young age. He was also key in implementing the Israeli methodology of military organization. Indeed, a list of achievements unparalleled. It is a great privilege to have Mr. Kirparam Vij present here in person. Let's all... Oh, I am so sorry. My apologies. Again, I will apologize for this because of the DORSCON change. So Dr. Nair will be accepting this award. You should have gone off stage, yeah? Right? Last minute he was not able to make it. So Dr. Nair on stage, thank you.
Wonder why I came again, because Mr. Kirparam Vij and me were neighbors before, and his brother Surat Prakash Vij and me were colleagues. He became a surgeon and migrated to Australia, and I stayed back here. So this morning, Kriparam said that he's not well. So he asked me whether you could do that. So that is why I am here. And you know that he was our greatest soldier in Singapore. And we are all here being protected by the Singapore Army, Navy and Air Force. That is why Singapore is great. Thank you.
All right, so now move on to the third award. And the third award of the evening is the Excellence Award for Philanthropy, presented to Navroji R. Mistry. Dubbed as the Godfather of the Poor and the Bachelor Godfather, Navroji donated large sums of his money towards the improvement of medical services in Singapore. Even to this day, the name of Mistry is immortalized in the Mistry wing of the Singapore General Hospital, which also housed the pediatric wards. In 1952, Navroji made the single largest donation of $950,000 to SGH, with which the government built a $1.5 million block for sick children. Indeed, a name synonymous with philanthropy. Let's put our hands together to invite on stage his nephew, Naushir, and niece, Roshan Mistry, please.
Thank you all very much, and it's a great honor to accept this award on behalf of my uncle. He was very fond of children. Unfortunately, he was not married. So when he saw all these sick children lying in the corridors of the Singapore General Hospital, he decided to give the money of $950,000 to the Singapore General Hospital so that they could build the award for the children. Unfortunately, he passed away before the building was completed. So my father, Mr. Hormuzji Mistry, opened the wing. Again, I want to thank you all so much for honoring my uncle. Thank you.
The next award is the Excellence Award for Legal Contribution, and the first recipient of this award is A.P. Raja. A.P. Raja was Singapore's first High Commissioner to Britain and a well-regarded Supreme Court Justice who remained on the High Court bench even after he had turned 70. Raja obtained his degree in law in England and eventually started his own law firm and was called to the Singapore Bar in 1938. He also contributed in the political arena, becoming the first secretary of the Singapore Progressive Party and the first Speaker of Parliament when Singapore gained independence in 1965. Let's have on stage Mr. Raja's son and senior counsel, Mr. Chelva Raja.
Thank you all very much. I'm sure my father will be tickled pink wherever he is when he's to see this award, and to see me so beshawled in receiving it. But thank you very much. I'm sure you'll be greatly honored with this award. and as indeed am I to be able to come up here and receive it on his behalf.
Thank you very much, sir. The next recipient of the Excellence Award for Legal Contribution is K.S. Raja. He was a legal maestro with service in the legal service, the Attorney General's office, and he also established the Legal Aid Bureau, as well as the Official Assignee's Office. Among his most notable contributions was his annulment of a marriage between a female-to-male individual who had married a male, which compelled Parliament to amend the Women's Charter in 1996 to permit transsexual people to marry in the capacity of the new gender. We would now like to invite his wife to accept the award on his behalf. My apologies, we would like to invite his daughter on stage to accept the award on his behalf.
Thank you very much for honoring my father. My family and I, we are really flattered that after all these years, he's still being remembered for his contributions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vikram Nair, thank you so much for accompanying me on stage. I'll be having you back later on, but for now you can take a rest. Thank you so much, sir. All right, wow, that was nerve-wracking. So many mistakes. I'm pretty sure he's not going to call me for the next one. All right. So, speaking about speeches, would you like to hear our president say a few words? Would you like to hear something from him? Yes? All of you would like to hear him? Yes. Let's call upon on stage the Talaiwa of the night, President for the Indian Hall of Fame, Singapore, Mr. S.A. Nathanji, to give his welcome speech, please. Before I hand over the mic, I must share this joke. The last time we met after the show, he was so happy he shared this joke with me. He said when I was much younger, he was traveling by train. So this man next to him was very critical of his movements and his actions, his behavior. So the man looked at him and said, "Hey, young boy, you shouldn't be having so many candies and sweets and chocolates. You know, it's too much sugar, it's no good for you." So uncle, being young, looked at him and said, "Sir, you know, my grandfather lived till he was 110 years old. So the man said, "What, from eating sugars?" "No, from minding his own business." Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pawan. And I'm really happy to see many high-powered contributors to the Singapore welfare and to the Indian community have already received the awards. And there will be many to receive more. But Dr. Nair, without receiving an award, already got two. That's amazing. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and guest of honor, Mr. Vikram Nair. Thank the SRC staff and the banquet team for having given a lot of support to us. And whenever we need something, they go out of their way to oblige us. And I would like to thank the manager, Ranjit Singh, and the assistant, Joyce Uttalan. So a very big thank you for each and every one of you who have come here, especially all the inductees whom will be inducted into the Indians Hall of Fame. Yes, since 1819, Raffles founded Singapore, and nobody has done on a bigger scale, calling everybody here to give the deserving ones the awards, and we have done this year. What we are going to do, this is the inaugural awards function. This is the first time we are giving awards to all the deserving top level top-notch achievers and contributors. What we are going to do next year is we will name these awards after those who have received the awards now. So just like, for example, like A. Vijayaratnam, he has received the award for, he will be receiving the award, the family will receive the award for the Excellence Award in Professional Services. So this award will be known as A. Vijayaratnam Excellence Award for Professional Services, and so on and on. So we have no doubt that the families who are gathered here, they will give their full support to do that. If that happens, then every year we will have a new awards given to the up and coming, all those who have contributed to Singapore's welfare, at the same time to the Indian community. So that will be taken place every year, and new ones, apart from those who are receiving the award this year, the new ones we will scout around. I have a committee, panel of advisors, whose duty is to, we will select about 2 or 3 deserving ones, then we hand over to the panel of advisors. They will select whoever we select, shortlisted ones. Otherwise, they'll be going on for a year to select. So we make things easy for them. We will select a few and hand over to them, and they will select the final list. So that's why we have 2 strong men in the top. One is Mr. Inderjit Singh, thank you, and one is Dr. V.P. Nair. Big hand, please. So recently, Vasantham Central commissioned us to produce 10-part TV serial, and I co-produce it with Naveen of Visual Beats, and it was a very well-received TV serial. And after doing the TV serial, my inquiring mind thought, why not we do this? Why not we call upon all the deserving people who have contributed to the nation and to the Indian community an award, an annual award, so that we will remember them, those who have done really for Singapore, we will remember them year after year, and we, at the same time, we will select a new one. So I don't know how many of you here will be in the list, so please work hard. The selection team is waiting for you all. And my team is here, a wonderful team. I would like to thank my panel of advisors who have really helped me to put up this night here, and my members of the Management Council, and also the chairman of the Events Committee, Rosita. Where is Rosita? Yes. Thank you, Rosita. Big hand, please. And I would like to thank everyone for coming here, and please continue your support to us. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, cannot go yet. You must give awards now. So, sir was supposed to take 15 minutes, and he's taken like 12, I think. I don't think I can pull his leg for 3 minutes. If not, he's going to give me like 1 or 2. Already I made so many mistakes, sir. Hey, next show, sir, please.
That is the reason why I'm sitting in front.
That's right. To correct all my errors. Very good. I'm so glad you've been this guiding pillar for all of us here. And yes, I want to reiterate his message. All of you work hard. Everyone work very, very hard so you can be selected. Selection committee is looking out for you. All right, let's move on to the next segment of awards. And now, the awards will be presented by Nathanji. Round of applause for him, please. The first award for this segment is the Excellence Awards for Arts, Culture, Tamil Language and Literature, presented to G. Sarangapani. Sarangapani was the founder of the Tamil Murasu newspaper, established in 1935 in Singapore and Malaya, and runs to this day. His greatest achievement would be his tireless efforts in promoting the growth of Tamil language in Singapore. He campaigned for Tamil to be among the 4 languages taught in school and found success in the 1950s, benefiting thousands of Indians for whom Tamil was the mother tongue. His undying dedication to his community is certainly remarkable. With a round of applause, let's invite on stage his grandson, Mr. Yohendra Bhaskar. Am I right? Did I get that right name? Mr. Bhaskar, a few words, please.
Thank you, Mr. Nanaji, and everybody, for remembering my grandfather. I've only had the privilege of 8 years of knowing my grandfather, but I must say that his work in the press, in Indian culture, has been taken up by a fantastic bunch of people, and the work is going on and progressing very, very well. On behalf of the family, the living children, Miss Rajam and the grandson and my uncle Balaram, we wish you all the heartiest thank you, and we hope that his work will keep on for many, many years to go.
Thank you so much, sir. The next award is the Excellence Award for Political Achievement Pre-Independence, and the first recipient is J.M. Jumaboy. J.M. Jumaboy was elected City Councillor in 1950 and returned unopposed in 1953. He later served as the Assistant Minister for Commerce and Industry and Minister for Commerce and Industry in the Legislative Assembly. To accept the award on his behalf, let us invite his son and daughter-in-law. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this. I'm sure my dad would be so happy to, happy for this and, honored about this. He did do a lot for, Singapore, communities. He was on various boards, and I'm just very pleased about this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very, very much. The next recipient for the Excellence Award for Political Achievement Pre-Independence is MPD Nair. MPD Nair was part of the committee in the 50s which focused on equal opportunities to all races in the field of education and language. This created the pathway for Singapore's bilingualism policy of the future. The committee also established an advisory council to ensure equal treatment of schools in the late 50s. Nair's role in this committee is thus considered pivotal in shaping today's educational landscape. Let's invite on stage Mr. Nair's son, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nathan and the committee. I think, like Mr. Raja, I think my dad will be tickled pink with this kind of awards. He was never one for awards and recognition, but he just did a lot of work for the good of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, we have the Excellence Award for Still User. He wants to go off. I'm so sorry, Still User. Next, we have the Excellence Award for Political Achievement Post-Independence presented to J.B. Jayaratnam. Jayaratnam was a former magistrate, Crown Counsel, Deputy Public Prosecutor, Senior District Judge, Registrar of the Supreme Court, and later a lawyer in private practice. But his most notable achievement would be being the first opposition politician to enter Parliament after Singapore gained independence in 1965. In the 1980s, Jayaratnam was the leader of the Workers' Party. He served several terms in Parliament as an MP as well and continued his involvement in politics right up till the early 2000s, despite the difficulties he faced. To receive this award, let's please invite on stage his son, a politician in his own right, Mr. Kenneth Jayaratnam.
Well, I'm honored to receive this award on behalf of my late father. He loved Singapore and Singaporeans, and I'm glad that his contributions to Singapore and to democracy in Singapore are being recognized tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And the last award for this segment, yes, sir, last award already. The last award is again it's the Excellence Award for Achievement in Labour Movement, presented to G. Kandasamy. G. Kandasamy was a veteran union leader, politician and community leader who founded the Amalgamated Union of Public Employees in 1959. His service as a trade unionist spanned more than 50 years, most notably as Deputy Secretary General of the NTUC in the early years of 1960. He also served as advisor and Secretary General to the Singapore Bank Employees Union and the Urban Redevelopment Authority Workers Union. Mr. Kandasamy's service to the community shaped the landscape of the labour movement. Let's invite on stage Mr. Kandasamy's daughter, Madam Shanti, who has flown in from Spain. All right, I have here New York, but Spain's good. From Spain.
Say thank you for recognizing my father's work. It's been 20 years since he's passed on, but it's wonderful to know that he's been honored and his life's work has been honored in this way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to apologize to everybody, including yourself and everybody for whom I may have said something incorrect. I'm so sorry, my script is 2,800 words long. So mistakes are bound to happen, so I really, really apologize. Please accept my humble apology. And on to a more lighter note now. We're going to have another speech. This time from our very own Dilka Doctor.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Mr. Vikram Nair, he is like my nephew. He is actually, in a very different way. MP for Sembawang GRC. The Indian Hall of Fame, IHS, the Indian Hall of Fame, IHF, was registered as a society in May 2019. Following 9 months of gestation. Suresh Nair is here. He didn't deliver it, but someone else delivered it. We are delivering the fruits of labor, the baby today, in the form of recognizing some well-known Singaporean Indians who have sacrificed their soul and energy for the benefit of us in Singapore in one way or another. It is the first of its kind in Singapore, as Mr. Nathan acknowledged. Our national heroes whose magnanimity has evoked people's admiration in Singapore. These are men and women who contributed to the Indian community in particular and the Singapore society at large. In future, as Mr. Nathan said, we will have more awards, and that will be done by selected committees comprising of some of the people who are being picked up. At this juncture, I would like to thank all of you for coming here for this humble beginning.
the SRC, as Mr. Nathan said, and all of you is more important, because without you, there will be no such function. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, but you cannot go off the stage. This is my style. Once I invite you on stage to give a speech, you have to stay here. So the first award for this segment is the Excellence Award for Medical Contribution, and the first recipient is Professor S.S. Ratnam. Professor Ratnam is the man who placed Singapore on the map for his expertise in pioneering Asia's first test tube baby by introducing IVF into Singapore. He represented Singapore as the Secretary General of the Asia and Oceania Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology, my apologies, and was a member of the Executive Board. As his research was for 3 decades, he also performed Singapore's first sex change operation in 1971. To say his list of achievements is outstanding would definitely be an understatement. Oh, we'll have his student on stage, Dr. Suresh Nair, please. Please.
Honestly, I don't deserve this honor even to accept this august gift. As you all know, he was a great man for a number of reasons. Not only as a doctor, he was a mentor to us. He used to come down on Sundays. Despite his heavy schedule, he traveled a lot to teach us, medical students, registrars, and he put Singapore on the map. And that, in those days, that's a great achievement. Imagine he was instrumental and made the birth of the first IVF baby in Asia, not just Southeast Asia, possible. And that deserves a tremendous round of applause, everyone.
Within the same field, the next recipient for the Excellence Award for Medical Contribution is Dr. Balaji Sadasivan. A renowned neurosurgeon, Dr. Balaji had training in residency at the Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, United States, and a fellowship at Howard University with a clinical appointment at Brigham Hospital and Boston Children's Hospital. Dr. Balaji was key in revolutionizing care for stroke patients, establishing Singapore's first radiosurgical treatment system using a linear accelerator at the Gleneagles Hospital. He also participated actively in politics, holding several portfolios. He was indeed a man with a keen sense of serving the community. And to receive this award on his behalf, let's invite on stage his wife and his daughter.
Thank you to the Singapore Indian Hall of Fame for honoring my husband with this award. My family and I are extremely grateful. It is quite a big coincidence that this award comes at a time when Singapore and the rest of the world is facing a pandemic. This one caused by the new coronavirus. Because in 2003, when we were facing SARS, Balaji was quite intimately associated with the country's battle against SARS. So it really reminds me very, very much of what he had done. Thank you very much. Thank you to my teacher, Dr. Nair, and Professor Ratnam was also my teacher. Thank you.
For the next award, we have the Excellence Award for Performing Arts, and the first recipient is KP Bhaskar. KP Bhaskar's journey began in 1952 during his stopover, which led to the establishment of Bhaskar's Academy of Dance. An active voice in the arts community, he was the pioneering chairman of the Dance Advisory Committee. He was also a member of the People's Association, the National Theatre Trust, the Kreta Aye People's Theatre, and the National Theatre Club. Not forgetting the Singapore Arts Foundation as well. He was also president of the Singapore Kathakali Yogam for 20 years. A performing arts extraordinaire indeed. To receive this award on his behalf, let's invite on stage his wife, Mrs. Bhaskar.
I'm speechless. Thank you very much for remembering my husband. He came here, as you said, that in 1952. He brought his art together with him, and he shared it in Singapore. I'm still doing the same thing, what he has done. I believe this award is for his art. So thank you, everybody, over here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. The next recipient for the Excellence Award for Performing Arts is Neela Satyalingam. Neela Satyalingam was an Indian classical dance choreographer and a 1989 Cultural Medallion winner. Trained in the Indian classical form of Bharatnatyam, Kathak, Kathakali and Manipuri, Neela pursued her love for classical dances endlessly. Together with her husband, she founded Apsara Arts in Singapore in 1977, actively promoting Indian classical dances. She also actively collaborated with other ethnic dance, music and dance ensembles to promote Indian dance forms in Singapore and gained international recognition. She was an inspiration to the Indian classical art scene in Singapore. Let us invite on stage Apsara Arts Arvind.
Today is Mrs. Neela's 82nd birthday. So I think it's a befitting tribute to her work. And what she has left behind is a legacy, students and all dancers in Singapore. And we are proud to continue her vision and on her mission. And I think this award encourages us who are trying to walk on her path. And thank you so much for this recognition. Thank you.
Final award for this segment. It's the Excellence Award for Journalism and New Media. Established in 1952, IMN has contributed significantly in the spreading of Tamil language, arts and culture for more than 65 years. It stands on the threshold of its 65th year of publication, which is unparalleled in the history of magazine publishing in Southeast Asia. It's monumental in that no Tamil cinema publication has ever reached the status of being the longest serving Tamil movie magazine in the world. What's more is that the president of IHFS, Mr. Nathanji, served as a managing editor and publisher of the magazine between 1987 and 2013. That's a really long time. Any guesses who I'm going to invite on stage to receive this award? Any guesses? No? Yes, it's Mr. Nathanji himself. Round of applause, please. know it's not going to be a few.
Thank you. I would like to say I'm receiving this award on behalf of Shaw Brothers Organization, who founded this magazine in 1952. I took over in 1987. Then I handed over this magazine to Mr. Gulam of Silver Screen, and they are now in charge. But as a tribute to Shaw Organization, which started this Indian Movie News in 1952, and this Indian Movie News has been a household magazine, and many of you here will know what is Indian Movie News all about, and it has served and still serving, I believe. And I thank you very much for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. At the same time, we'd like to thank Dr. Nair. We have another speech, and this time it's going to be by the chairman of the panel of advisors of the Indian Hall of Fame Singapore. He happens to be the former MP for Ang Mo Kio GRC and an entrepreneur in his own right. Mr. Inderjeet Singh, please, a big round of applause.
Very good evening, our guest of honor, MP Vikram Nair, Sembawang GRC. Thank you for spending so much of time with us. He was supposed to go back early. President, Mr. Nadanji, for this great initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to first of all congratulate all the award winners tonight and their family members for this very important recognition of their contributions to Singapore and to the Indian community in Singapore and around the region. This was something that was long in the making. We have got many important people who have contributed significantly to Singapore's progress over the years, but the Indian community have not taken the initiative to recognize them in this way. And I think what we did was to put on record and put in history, our history books, the contributions of all these important people that have made it all possible. As you can see, we have got a very wide range of what we cover every sections of society, from social services, the union, politics, medical professions, and many other areas. It's a very diversified area because we have got people who have made important contribution in all of these areas. At the same time, if you look at the awardees who got the award tonight, is also a very diversified group of Singaporeans. I'm from the PAP, as Vikram is, but we recognize everyone, including people who may have been from the opposition. And it is important that we do that, and the reason is that they have also contributed to our progress. And so the panel of advisors were very objective in making the decision on who the award should go to. It was not an easy decision because there are many more people who have contributed in a big way. But this list, going back to the 200 years that Mr. Nadanji mentioned from the beginning, we hope that it's comprehensive enough and thus recognize. We hope that we have not left anyone behind. But now that we have started, if we have, please do bring it up to the committee, and we want to recognize them in the coming award ceremony. I want to take this opportunity to first of all thank the management committee for the excellent work. They've worked very hard in starting this organization and all the hard work in bringing the names, putting the material together, tonight's event. So thank you, Mr. Nadanji and your committee. Of course, he's an advisor actually for our organization, so we want to thank Mr. Vikram Nair for being an advisor. I want to also thank the panel of advisors, and I would like them to stand up, please, all of our panel advisors. Mr. Kunalan, Dr. Nair, Melvin Dajit. Ravi was here, I don't know where he was going. Ravi is right at the back down there, thank you. for being part of our group, and Satinder is not done. So thank you. We worked very hard, and I hope that this has been a meaningful experience for all of us. So once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to this event. It really makes a big difference that we've got not just the distinguished winners who are not here with us, but also the family members who themselves are distinguished themselves and have done very well in Singapore. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Inderjit Singh already knows he's on stage, means he's going to be giving some awards. Thank you, sir, for taking over the reins for the next set of awards. And first we have the Excellence Award for Outstanding Entrepreneurship, and the first recipient is R. Jumaboy. Jumaboy was a well-known and a well-regarded businessman dubbed commonly as the Great Old Man of Scots. A successful businessman, he started out with a small business of wheat, flour and spices, and eventually diversified into the property business and shipping as well. Apart from being a successful entrepreneur, he served in more than 22 organizations before 1940, including setting up the Indian Association and Indian Merchants Association. A staggering achievement indeed. Let's please invite on stage his son, Mr. Amir Ali Jumaboy, to accept the award on his behalf.
Blame someone for this, and that's our friend Dr. V.P. Nair. What could I say about us, our family? They have been in various capacities serving in Singapore, founders of many associations, etc. So I am just a follower, but even I had something to do with the growth of Singapore. There's a man called Lee Kuan Yew, whom you know very well. His office used to be opposite mine in Malacca Street. He was an employee of a company called Lekop and Ong. This story is interesting because it's not my story, it's his story. He was elected in Parliament, and so was my father, elected in Parliament from Telok Ayer, mainly 100% Chinese. Against 2 Chinese people, he was elected. Now, during Parliament time, all of Kuan Yew's comrades were put in jail, and therefore he couldn't speak in Parliament without someone seconding him. And that someone was my father, who was also elected by a completely Chinese area, Telok Ayer. But there were Indian merchants on Malacca Street, Market Street, and a little bit in Arab Street and Cecil Street. And of course, everybody knows my father founded the Indian Chamber of Commerce and many, many things. But that's by the way. It's the experience that we've had as we grew up. So I think it's only natural that someone in the family also does all these things. Some are useful and some are not. But it was my honor to do a few things that were, I think, very useful. But my father's standard and level was very high. He was the Indian component of a great Chinese leader called Tan Kaki. And those were his friends on the other side, and they were adopted in the Governor's Council of Singapore. The last governor of some interest was a man called Lord Mountbatten, if you remember. And if Lord Mountbatten was here in Singapore, my father was on his cabinet, which is why he got a car number S32, because that was a government number. And that remained in my life for a long time before it disappeared. But these are the stories of the growth of a country. But it is not without a background, because a lot of them, when they came back, when they came out to make a living in Singapore, most of our people were from the south, from Madras and that area. Hence the large number of people, and hence Tamil being the language in Singapore. So these are the area in which I grew up. And with a father like mine who founded so many things, including the Indian Chamber of Commerce, the Gandhi Memorial Building, guest of Nehru 3 times in Singapore, a friend of the great Tan Kah Kee, Chinese leader, and so many things. So I grew up in that era, listening to all these things. So it's no wonder that I also made a few mistakes by forming this, that, and the other. I'm not going into detail about what I've done, but I'm happy to say that these have continued and been of use to Singaporeans. So with that, thank you very much for honoring my family's name. I am very grateful, Dr. Nair, for the mischief that you have done in getting us all involved. Thank you.
The next award is the Excellence Award for Professional Services Achievement, presented to A. Vijayaratnam. Best described as a man of many talents, Vijayaratnam represented Singapore in 4 sports, namely hockey, cricket, football, and rugby at the Olympics during the years between 1946 and 1956, earning him a spot in the Singapore Guinness Book of Records. He is also Singapore's first Asian engineer and a top civil servant, the first Pro-Chancellor of the Nanyang Technical University. He served as the chairman of Tamil Murasu Board between 1995 and 2005, as well as other noteworthy councils. Certainly an unparalleled list of achievements by an extraordinary personality. Let us invite on stage his son, Vijayendran, to accept the award on his behalf.
I just want to thank the Indian Hall of Fame, Singapore, for honoring my dad with this prestigious award. It's something which my father, because my father's not into awards, so there's something special. So my family and I like to thank you all for the award. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. The next award is the Excellence Award for Sports Officials, and the award is presented to S.S. Dillon. Dillon's contribution to sports is second to none. Holding a Master's in Sports Science and Sports Management, Dillon served in the Ministry of Education as a PE teacher as well as a physical education inspector. He served as Secretary General of the Singapore National Olympic Council from 1971 to 1996. He was also Honorary Secretary for several regional games, including the Siap Games and Southeast Asian Peninsula Games. His induction into the Hall of Fame is therefore totally deserving, considering the staggering list of his achievements. Okay, we now have on stage, let's now invite on stage Mr. C. Kunalan to accept the award on his behalf.
few words on behalf of Mr. Dillon. He was planning to come, but this morning his ankle swelled, and then he felt that he might not be able to get up those steps. So he said, "You receive it on my behalf." Of course, Dillon was a school teacher, and I knew him right from the beginning. He worked very, very hard. Later, when he left teaching, he went into the Singapore Olympic Council. He was the Secretary General for more than 20 years. He organized all the sports teams that went on competitions, and everything always worked out so well because Dillon made sure everything, every detail was taken care of. So on behalf of Mr. Dillon, I would say thank you very much for this award, and I will hand this over to him. Thank you very much.
The next award is the Excellence Award for Sportsperson, and the first recipient would be Mr. C. Kunalan himself. So is a primary school English text dedicated to the life and achievements of Mr. Kunalan, a name synonymous with Singapore athletics. Mr. Kunalan set the standards to which today's track and field athletes are held, from representing Singapore in the 1968 Olympics in Mexico to holding the 100-meter record for more than 3 decades. Mr. Kunalan's 20 medals won in a decade certainly pits him as one of the greatest sports personalities of Singapore. Big round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much. You know, I came into sports when I was 20 years old. Very late start. And that's why that book is about late but not last that you mentioned. And I wouldn't have come into sports without being spotted by a coach. He was a lecturer at the Teachers Training College. His elder sister, she was a Chinese. She was adopted. And we loved her so much. She just passed away last year. But I'm so glad the rest of the family are here with her. Thank you very much, my dear family. And I thank all of you. I met so many of you just now outside there, and thank you for your friendship. May we all meet again all the time. Thank you very much.
The next recipient of the Excellence Award for Sportsperson is none other than Kesavan Soon. Kesavan Soon was a 17-year-old student at Victoria School in 1956 and a leading sprinter at school and national level. He has the distinction of being the only schoolboy to run at the Olympics representing Singapore in the 1956 Melbourne Olympics in Australia. He was also the Vice President of the Singapore Amateur Athletics Association in the early 1970s and again in the early 1980s. Certainly an outstanding athlete and community leader. Big round of applause. Mr. Kesavan Soon himself.
Thank you very much for the award. I'm very happy to be here. And it was a nice time to be here. And I'm glad to be recognized by the Indian community as an athlete. I had a tough time being an athlete as a young boy. I started very young, at the age of 17. And in those days, sports were not so popular, and we had no time to go overseas for training and all that. So I was happy that I managed to become a Singapore champion in one day, because athletics was held on one day only. Saturday was raining, so everything was held on Sunday, and I ran 10 races in one day. And I won every one of it. First time in my life, and I was quite happy. Thank you very much. That's the award.
The next award for this segment is the Excellence Award for Social Welfare Services, presented to Kartar Singh Delamangal. A man of courage, Kartar Singh journeyed to Singapore at the tender age of 8 in 1933. Kartar Singh led a tumultuous teenage life in Singapore, but remained stoic in his pursuit of a better life. All this while not forgetting the less fortunate and needy. He and his wife would set aside $25 for the needy from every $100 they earned. He gave freely to those who needed a roof over their heads. Indeed, Kartar Singh was truly a selfless man who lived in the service of others. And to receive the award, may we invite on stage members of his family, please. Here, so Mr. Indrajit Singh is presenting the award personally to her. A marvelous show of respect there. Thank you so much, ma'am. A few words, sir, please.
On behalf of my mother and our family, we'd like to thank you all for honoring my dad. I'm sure he would really, really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And the final award for this segment is the Excellence Award for Outstanding Entrepreneurship, and it is being presented to Kartar Singh Thakral. His story began from a humble business outlet dealing with wholesale textile trading and grew to heights seen by very few before him. Today, the family has successfully expanded the business to 25 countries and now runs a diversified portfolio of businesses. From being named Businessman of the Year in 1995 to being appointed the Board of Directors for the then Singapore Trade Development Board for a period of 4 years, Kartar Singh Thakral's name became synonymous with persevering success. To accept this award on his behalf, may we invite on stage Mr. Melminder Singh stage.
I don't represent the family, I'm just merely a family friend and a good friend of Mr. Thakral's grandson, Vikram, who couldn't be here today and has asked us to receive the award on his behalf. I think I speak for behalf of the entire Sikh community in Singapore when I say that Mr. Kartar Singh, Uncle Kartar as we call him, is a stalwart, a humble man. Many of you have said today who have come up to receive the awards on behalf of your elders that your elders wouldn't want to have received this award. I can say the same for Mr. Kartar. He's extremely humble and spiritual man, but also a man of great foresight, great tenacity, and great perseverance and inspiration to all of us. Thank you.
We've now come to the last segment of awards, and once again I would need to invite, with a round of applause from you, our guest of honor for today, Mr. Vikram Nair, please. To unforeseen circumstances, the family members of the next set of award recipients were unable to attend this event. As such, our president, Nathanji, will receive these awards on behalf of the IHFS. And of course, he'll make good of these awards and send these awards to the rightful recipients. And of course, if he can't, he has a very big cupboard in his house, he told me. Okay, he said, no, it's just a joke. All right, thank you, Nathanji. Now, actually, the both of you just need to remain here. I'll read out the names and then we'll just do the award presentation. Award to be received will be just one, but please remain on stage all the way till the end. I'll be reading all these citations. I thought I could get out of it, but apparently not. Okay. So, the very first award for this segment is the Excellence Award for Community Service, presented to none other than Narayana Pillai. Being the first Indian to set foot in Singapore, Narayana Pillai is a legend in Singapore's historical annals. In 1819, Pillai travelled to Singapore from Penang with none other than Sir Stamford Raffles and worked with Raffles in many areas in the building of early Singapore. Pillai also is credited with building the legendary Sri Mariamman Temple. He also organized Singapore's early Indian community by seeking to educate boys and embarked on other social endeavors. He can best be described as the original Taliban. I hope I said that correctly. Can we have the award, please? So this will be the symbolic award, and then of course I'll read out the citations for the next few award winners. Thank you very much, both of you. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you. The next award is the Excellence Award for Animal Care, presented to William Lawrence Somapa. Not many know that before we had Mandai Zoo, Singapore had a zoo in Punggol. And this zoo, which became a major attraction for local residents and visitors, one such being Albert Einstein himself, was the brainchild of William Lawrence. William Lawrence always had an abiding interest in animals and had helped establish the first full-size public zoo and bird park. He was also the first person to be inducted into the Zoological Society of Great Britain, certainly befitting of his given moniker, the Animal Man. Round of applause for him. The next award is the Excellence Award for Social Welfare, presented to P. Govindasamy Pillai. P. Govindasamy Pillai was a business icon, a humanitarian who donated generously to causes and ventures close to his heart, such as the Perumal Temple, the Indian Chamber of Commerce, Indian Association, and the Ramakrishna Mission. Unsurprisingly, he was made a Justice of Peace. Govindasamy was a hard-working man who did hard labor in his early years in Singapore and persevered to uplift himself. He eventually became one of the most successful South Indian businessmen of that era. Certainly an ever-resilient man. Round of applause for him, please. Is the Excellence Award for Sports Official, and the recipient for this is N. Garnison, known fondly as Mr. Soccer of Singapore. Garnison was an extraordinary football administrator with a genuine love for the game. Garnison represented in combined schools, Singapore Indians, and played Division 1 soccer at the young age of 16. Garnison served as chairman of FAS from 1974 to 1982, turning it into one of the richest of Singapore. The next award is the Excellence Award for Labour Movement, presented to Jamit Singh. Unknown perhaps to even the Sikh community, one of their more dogged sons was a person named Jamit Singh, who fought tooth and nail against oppression and blatant injustice. Singh was described as the flaming torch behind port workers in colonial Singapore against the Singapore Harbour Board, and gamely won concessions for those he campaigned for. Such was his influence that his command resulted in the paralysis of the harbour, where 1,300 workers refused to service any of the ships. Perhaps a true embodiment of union leadership. A round of applause for him, please. Next we have the Excellence Award for Women Empowerment, and the first recipient is Vilasini Menon. Mrs. Vilasini Menon, a lawyer, was Singapore's first elected woman in the first elected woman legislative councillor from the Seletar Ward at the 1951 Legislative Council elections. She was the first woman in Singapore to be elevated to such an enviable position. The Indian community was and still is very proud of her achievement. Unfortunately, she couldn't serve a full term, and Perhaps some pressing personal problems back home in Kerala caused her to resign from the Legislative Council and leave Singapore, never to return back. A big round of applause for her as well. The next recipient of the Excellence Award for Women Empowerment is Checha Davis. Checha Davis was a social worker and one of Singapore's foremost women activists. Her name rang with a gusto that it became synonymous with the birth of the Young Women's Christian Association. She founded the Singapore's first Indian Ladies Club, the Indian Ceylonese Club, which later merged with its visible rival, the Ladies Union, to form the Kamala Club, and also played a pivotal role in Singapore's Legislative Assembly, passing the Women's Charter Bill in 1961. Certainly a list of achievements truly deserving of this award. A round of applause for her as well. Next we have the Excellence Award for Academic Achievement, presented to Professor Karnal Singh Sandhu. Professor Karnal is well known for his appointment as Director of Institute of Southeast Asian Studies, which was a leading hub for interdisciplinary research for the region. He transformed its landscape in the 20 years he served and afforded it international recognition. However, his most notable achievement was his endeavor in building economic cooperation, which eventually led to the formation of the ASEAN Free Trade Agreement in 1992. An outstanding academic, certainly he was. A round of applause for him, please. The next award is the Excellence Award for Lifetime Achievement, and the first recipient of this is C.V. Devan Nair. Devan Nair was Singapore's third president and the first of Indian extract. He is remembered for his unassuming public profile. He was appointed chairman of the Prisons Inquiry Commission, which was tasked with improving the prison's environment. He was also responsible for the establishment of the NTUC Insurance Cooperative Income, the NTUC Fair Price Supermarkets, and the Comfort Taxi Cooperative. He was also awarded the Public Service Star in 1963. Certainly a long list of achievements. Round of applause for him as well, please. The next recipient of the Excellence Award for Lifetime Achievement is S.R. Nathan, Singapore's 6th President. He was the second President of Indian origin to assume the highest office of the land. Among his achievements were him serving as Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which gained traction in 1994 for the Michael Fay vandalism case. In 1974, he adroitly handled the Laju hijack situation in January and courageously volunteered himself to be the hostage to secure the release of civilian hostages. Certainly a bold and brave man. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Vikram Nair and Nathanji, although you were not on stage, but technically you were receiving these awards and giving them out. And we've come to the end of all award presentations, so thank you, all of you, for being a wonderful audience. I know what all of you are thinking now, right? So what's happening? I have good news for you. Dinner is served.